A celebrity chef. He's our special guest. He's also a model as well. He is the chef and owner of Elev. It's a bistro located in Seoul. Joining us here in the studio, Chef Austin Kang. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello. Nice to be here. Thank you.
We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, I talked about the Chuseok food, so maybe we can start with that.
Okay.
A lot of our listeners are here in Korea, but a lot of them, maybe most of them, are from overseas. Maybe give us a little bit of what you think is Chuseok Food 101.
Okay, so Chuseok, you can just think of it as a kind of like a Korean Thanksgiving. Let's say, so what I've heard from Chuseok from my parents and from some studies that Chuseok is, honoring your ancestors.
Right.
That's basically what it is. And also, on Chuseok, families would get together. Korea used to be more of like agriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at that time, people would start harvesting the rice, the food, preparing for winter. So the families would come along, help, and then after they help, they prepare a big meal together for their first, preparing their winter season. And then, that's what it is from what I heard.
Well, we have Chuseok here. We have Thanksgiving in various other parts of the world. I understand that you're actually from the same area that I'm from, LA, right?
Yeah.
And so we spent our childhoods in the U.S. For me personally, honestly, Thanksgiving was the bigger holiday. And so that was really the thing that a lot of even the Korean American families sort of got ready, right? With the turkey in the oven and all that.
Yeah.
And if we did Chuseok, it was kind of a smaller scale thing in our family. I wonder how it was for you when you guys were celebrating Chuseok.
So Chuseok, it was basically, you can say fusion. You got the galbichim, you got the chon, you got the japchae, you got the traditional Korean stuff with the Korean rice wine and some soju and some ekju there. But also what we also had was like in the States and especially in LA, you have backyards and a charcoal grill in your backyard. So we would get some sirloin steak.
Right. And then mix that with the LA kalbi, right?
Yeah.
And mix that
and
together.
Also we got the salsa that we drink it with wine too. So
yeah, it's a
nice.
fusion kind of, like you say, you kind of get the best of both worlds, right? You get the delicious American food with the delicious Korean foods. I never realized that Chuseok was that big a deal until I actually moved here. And maybe it's the same for you. Mm-hmm. You are in Korea now. I understand you're also away from your family, right? Yes. So is it different the way you celebrate Chuseok these days, living in Korea?
Well, because I have no family out here. Usually what I do is I would invite my close friends because, they're all expats and they don't have families out here.
Right.
So since I have a restaurant, I would bring my friends over. I'll cook them up some some traditional Korean dishes and some fusion in between too.
Right.
And then we just celebrate together with some soju, some ekju, galbichim, japchae, chon, and then some cuisine I make too, like French cuisine. So we like a little bit of both,
right? And there's no real strict rules because I think that the concept of Chuseok is really what you're saying, kind of gathering people together who otherwise might not be able to spend that time together. And the food is important, but it's of course I think secondary to that kind of companionship, right?
Yeah. The food is like the food is just there to just give a bonus, but it's the most important thing is the people around you.
We had the intro where we're talking about a lot of people who always get concerned about the holiday weight, right? Or they're concerned about gaining those extra pounds, especially during the holiday season. You look like a guy who's in great shape, so maybe you don't worry about it too much personally, but you also know food very well. What would you say if you're going to give advice to some of our listeners who are worried about that? What would be a healthier way to enjoy that kind of holiday food?
Skip the rice cakes.
Okay. So the carbs issue, right?
The carbs issue. I mean, or with the chon, it's all fried usually. You can steam it usually, or poach it. That's a good case. But, just to keep it simple, just stay away from the carbs, rice, especially the rice cake.
I mean, isn't that generally like just good advice across the board where you say, it's delicious, right? The cakes and rice and all these other kind of pastries are good, but if you kind of moderate and reduce the intake of those simple carbs, you can have those cheat days and you can kind of maybe set aside, maybe you're kind of pretty disciplined and strict most of the year, but then if these few holidays, you can maybe splurge and kind of cheat those 1-2 days and then make sure you go back to the gym the next morning or something, right?
Usually I don't keep track of my weight. I just eat, just exercise right after,
Yeah. It's probably something to worry about when your metabolism goes down a little bit after you get a little bit older. A lot of our listeners are excited to have you here because they know of you from that famous competition cooking show on television. So maybe just getting more of your background, especially for those who have become fans of you through your TV work, is you had just walk us through. You were interested in food. You decided to become a chef, and then this cooking competition. How did that all come about?
Oh, so basically, I was working at a fine dining French restaurant in Korea, and then while I was working, my friends saw me. One of my good friends, his name is Henry. He's a singer.
Right.
And I have my other friend. They were seeing how hard I was working. I was working 13-hour shifts. With basically like 10-minute breaks in between. Mostly like 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes. And, they felt bad. So there's this competition called Master Chef. It was all over like the news and stuff. So my friends signed me up. I didn't want to get on that show.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to go. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it. But they signed me up and they're like, hey, I signed you up for this. You have to go. So I kind of felt bad. He was a young.
Right.
So,
right.
So I just went, auditioned. Somehow I got in. I don't know how. I still can't believe I got in the show. And then I got pretty far. I mean, got to the semifinals. And after that,
would you say it changed your life, kind of?
It did. It did. But then after that show, I wanted to go back to the States and study more cooking.
Okay.
I wanted to go to school there, and I wanted to go to like restaurants there and pursue my cooking career. But my friend Henry, he told me, you have this opportunity. Just don't make it into a waste. You look good. You cook. So find an agency. You should do some modeling, make some side money here and there. And so I got into a modeling agency and then did a couple of CFs here and there. And I stopped cooking for a little bit because of this, but I did pop-ups in between because, that's my passion.
Sure.
And eventually at one point I'm like, you know what, I can't model forever, and I really miss cooking, so I opened up a restaurant called The Lev. From there, after I opened The Lev, I guess things started happening, like, shows started coming in, more big opportunities came in.
So your intention wasn't to become this big star and be this glamorous model and
not at
have
all
that adulation.
No.
It was just that it just popped up. You kind of got peer pressured into doing this competition, and it all kind of fell in your lap. But what you're saying though is that's all nice and good, but your main focus and your main passion is cooking, and that's what you always are trying to gravitate towards.
Yeah. I'm cooking is gonna stay with me forever. It's been with me since through the hard times. So that's going to stay with me, and it's going to keep me humble.
Right.
And just, always push myself to be better and better.
Well, one of those kind of famous media appearances included being on the American broadcaster NBC. That's a big deal for those of us who are from the States. Wow. That's a huge deal. During the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, you were introducing viewers to Korean food. You talked about chimek. I guess, you could have gone a lot of different ways, but with chimek, do you felt that was sort of the most accessible among the Korean cultural kind of food items to?
It's more of a comforting thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not really about the food. It's about the people, right? And after work, people would gather around, chimek would be the most accessible and the most, 편한 느낌. Like it's relaxing. After work, some beer and some chicken.
Yeah, you don't have to think too hard about it.
You don't need to think too hard. You can just relax and enjoy each other's conversation, and it's a stress relieving thing.
What would you say is the most, if you had to introduce one food item to a foreigner or somebody who's not really had exposure to Korea, although that's kind of really becoming more and more of a minority because more and more people are kind of into Korean culture. But what would you, because you mentioned galbijim, that happens to be my favorite dish.
Me
and then
too.
it seems like anyone would love it. But what would you say would be something that you think could be universally sort of a good intro and where people will say, I'm going to stick around and I'm going to, stay with this cuisine?
Well, galbijim, of course.
Yeah.
But then, when I came to Korea and I ate fried chicken in Korea, wow. Fried chicken. Wow.
Right.
Nothing beats fried chicken here. It's amazing.
Different from the regular kind of fast food kind of fried chicken that we're used to in the States, right?
Yeah. It's amazing. Wow, the soy sauce, the soy and the what was that gochujang type of fried chicken too.
Right.
The yangnyeom fried chicken.
Right.
They're really good. Oh my gosh. you know, right?
Yeah, no, because it's so
something
different.
You have to experience.
It's almost like you can't even say it's actually a copy of an American style or Western food because it's just they've really kind of transformed it into their own sort of category where people now kind of can in their consciousness go, this is Korean fried chicken, and it's a totally different thing from.
It's so good, and the pork here is so much better.
Right.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, I'd be happy with just, let's say, 500 grams of samgyeopsal and, a few vegetables and call it a day. But that was also, I guess, what we're curious about is your diet because, again, you're a model, you're in shape. I guess looks are still a little bit of a part of how you're running your business. How do you balance it? I mean, being involved with food and also knowing that building a beautiful body doesn't always mean indulging in everything that you want to indulge in.
Well, basically, my schedule's pretty hectic here and there. And usually, chefs that actually cook, they're very skinny.
Yeah, I've noticed.
They're always in this adrenaline rush, and they're always...
And you're never eating during food service.
Yeah, you're never eating. Basically, for me, I'm eating one meal a day.
Wow. Because
I'm so busy preparing for my meal and preparing for service. And with my other schedules going on. So, I don't really get to eat that much, but once I eat, I eat a lot.
Right.
So
I guess the diet aspect isn't too difficult because of your crazy schedule.
Yeah.
Would you just supplement that with working out or trying to regularly exercise?
Pretty much, working out. Working out, I do a combination of CrossFit, weightlifting, getting into Pilates, trying to mix myself up a little. And then usually nowadays I'm having a new hobby. I'm sailing.
Oh, wow.
So that keeps me in shape too. So.
Well, it seems like you've got such a hectic schedule running a successful business. You've got still the media appearances, that famous beer commercial with Gordon Ramsay, which I got to say among my Kyopo friends, we were all just like, really, Gordon? But I'm not going to ask you to comment on that. But, you've had such a successful early career. What are your plans for the future?
Future? Well, one of my goals is, I came to this country not knowing I would be like a celebrity chef.
Right.
I mean, I don't even think of myself as a celebrity chef. I'm just a chef that's just trying to promote his restaurant, like any other business person or a chef. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for this opportunity that's came to me. And I do want to repay back somehow. There's a lot of people out there without families and stuff. I can't relate because I have a family, but I'm just away from them. But there's people out there without any family, and just showing them it's okay, and I just want to show them my cuisine because they can't really go out and eat. Because it's very hard for them to get that knowledge of food here.
Well, hopefully anybody who is feeling that little bit of loneliness and wants a good meal, they'll check out your restaurant, Alev. We really do thank you taking the time, part of the Chuseok holidays, and spending it with us. Hopefully we can have you back on soon. I know you're a big star and you're busy, but if the time permits, we'd love to get you back and catch up with you again.
And,
thank
you.
Best of luck to you until then, and thanks for joining us.
All right.